Hello, good afternoon. Today I will underline the differences between symbolism and imagism through certain examples, trying to exemplify them through the examples to make the meaning clear. I will already explained the fundamental differences between symbolism and imagism, which are very important concepts in English poetry. Symbolism, as I've already mentioned, is based on imagination. It uses metaphors in a language which is very poetic, full of allusions, suggestiveness. It expresses the vision of the poet and his perception of reality. Because in symbolism, the symbols are objects which represent ideas, emotions, thoughts and feelings. It is the poet's vision of the world, deeply subjective and deeply impressionistic. Subjectivity is a characteristic of modern poetry as well. Though imagism is a modern movement, it is also very, very subjective, because in literature, boundaries are always fluid and the same poet can be influenced by both symbolism as well as imagism. To come back to symbolism and to understand its full meaning through the use of certain examples, which are among the most well-known, beautiful, perfect and aesthetic expressions in English poetry. First, I will go to Shakespeare and mention his sonnet number 18, which is as the immortal lines go. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The lines are addressed to a beloved. Here the summer's day is a symbol. It is not only a beautiful day in summer, but it is a symbol of perfection, of loveliness, of beauty, of loveliness which is incomparable. And it also has added layers of meanings, because symbolism is fluid. The meanings are fluid. There are added dimensions to the object which is represented or which becomes a symbol of an idea. So apart from the summer's day being symbolic of loveliness and beauty and perfection, it is also symbolic of and expressive of the passage of time and the transience of time and the impermanence of beauty. So this is a perfect example of symbolism in literary expression. I will mention two more examples as beautiful, as well known, and I might add as perfect. These two examples are from the Romantics. I will mention Keats's Ode to a Nightingale first, where the nightingale is not merely a bird, the invisible bird, which transports him to a realm of imagination, because symbolism is purely based on imagination, because the poet views reality through his imagination, and the vision is the poet's deeply subjective vision, his perception of reality. So the nightingale is again a symbol of beauty, of perfection, of loveliness, and it also expresses the poet's mood, that of a deep pensive thought and a deep melancholy. As opposed to this mood of pessimism is Shelley's immortal ode to the west wind, where the west wind, once more the force of nature, the autumn wind, the autumn storm, becomes a symbol of hope. It becomes a symbol of force of nature. It merely is not a storm in autumn, but it is also something which uproots the decaying and the irrelevant elements from life and makes way for a new world full of hope and positivity. So these are among the various examples of symbolism in poetry, because poetry is based on imagination. But now come to I must also add once again that the poets who are following the concept of symbolism, they are deeply subjective and their poems are impressionistic. Imagism or modern poetry, it is a very modern movement, and it was a movement away from symbolism and its romanticism and its use of imagination. But it is a very modern movement. It is also deeply subjective. So, like I said, to repeat myself once again, these boundaries in literature are always fluid. So now let us take another very famous example of what Imagism is, and also the concepts of Imagism which I have defined earlier. They are reality. An object is looked at not through the lenses of imagination, but as it appears in its physical reality. It uses a language which is not poetic but very direct. The images are very concrete, not fluid. There is a singular meaning, and the language is colloquial, down to earth, simple and direct. Now a very famous example, one of the most famous examples, because this is from the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot, that signature poem which defines Imagism and also the beginning of modern poetry. Like I said, Imagism is a modern movement, and again it is deeply subjective. It is the perception of the poet as he looks at the world. Now the opening lines of this love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, this poem which is the landmark poem, the opening lines are, "Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient upon a table." Quotation mark closed. This image, it's representing reality in all its ugliness, in all its mundanity, in its very prosaic truth. It is an image of sickness, physical and moral, and as well as emotional and spiritual. The image of sickness cannot be defined in any other way but through this direct image of a patient etherized upon an operating table, and the feeling or the expression is very direct. It is not through some allusion or metaphor. Symbolism is based on metaphors. Thank you.